asking for?
Enlightenment.
Huh?
Enlightenment.
Enlightenment about what?
About the meaning. He wasn't sure that he grasped everything in the Torah.
That I may see, unveil my eyes, that I may perceive wonders.
So he knows there's more into it than there really, does he knows there's more into it than there
Well, here's
really
the point. What is he asking for?
He's asking for deeper, just
He says,
intimacy.
I know the stories, I know the history, I know the commandments, there's something more. And I'm not getting it. There's something more. Open my eyes. I know there's something more, but I can't do it. You have to open my eyes. Now, the word for wonders of the Torah is spelled like this. Wonders. Does anybody know how to pronounce that word?
Can you tell the letters again?
Noon, pay, here. Noon, pay, which is a P or an F.
I did not say that.
Ask Rhonda.
Nephalot. 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 Nephal, like Nephalim. Paleo. Paleo. Paleot. Noon is to put the lightning bolt to the paleo.
Shut up.
And the Aleph Vav Tav means literally a letter of the alphabet. A letter of the alphabet is Aleph Vav Tav.
Letter of the alphabet. You mean describing the whole alphabet?
I'll read you what Aleph Vav Tav as a word means, and this is not in Strong's. So if you just read Strong's and you don't read this dictionary, you won't see this. But Aleph Vav Tav.
Yeah, why didn't you tell us this at first?
Didn't I go over this word the other day?
Yes, you did, but you didn't tell us that.
Yeah, not that.
We got off on a
That's a good
rabbit.
lead-in right there.
You saved the best for last.
Okay, the word Aleph Vav Tav means a sign, a signal, a symbol, a token, a miracle. It also means to consent or agree, to signal, well that's an oath, to consent or agree and say, here's the sign that I agree. Here, we'll exchange vows, we'll exchange rings, we'll exchange pieces of paper. I'll give you my coat and you give me your jacket, and then we got, some, I forget his name, eternity in their hearts. Richard something. Anyway, there was this tribe in Borneo or in Indonesia or somewhere where if these two warring tribes, they'd exchange children. So the other guy's children would be in their tribe, and that way it's like, okay, we're not going to...
Right.
That's the same kind of a thing. You're sworn to those, you're excuse me? Peace child, you wrote the same thing. Same guy. Okay, anyway. It also means a letter of the alphabet. Now if you look at Aleph Yod Tav, just to double check by changing the Vav for a Yod, that's around here somewhere. Aleph Yod Lamed, Aleph Yod Nun.
That's why the people in Geshad liked Judas, because their whole tribe was based on trickery.
With who?
And Peace Child,
Oh, right,
the
right.
whole premise was that they liked Judah better than anybody, or Judas better than anybody in the whole thing, because he did things behind everybody's back.
The
and
sneaky guy, so they exalted the sneaky
yeah,
guy.
did exactly what their culture was based on.
Anyway, here, to spell a word is Aleph Yod Tav. So this is a letter of the alphabet, and the spell word is Aleph Yod Tav, and it has to do with consent or agree or a sign or symbol of an oath. Yahweh's oath is the letter of the alphabet. There's a proof. Now I'll show you something else. Have you ever heard of A Mighty Fortress is Our God? You know that song?
I'm a Lutheran. I know.
Okay, remember the phrase. I'm going to ask you what this means.
Martin Luther.
Yeah.
Martin Luther, Lord Sabaoth is He. What does that mean? You know?
Lord of the Sabbath.
Lord of the Sabbath. Why did he say Lord? Why did he say Lord Sabaoth? That doesn't say Sabbath. Sabbath is S-A-B-B-A-T-H. What's Sabaoth?
It's an oath.
Huh?
It's got oath in it.
Well, there's kind of an oath, sort of phonetics.
Yeah.
Why did Martin Luther? But see, Martin Luther wrote it in German. The English translation was Lord Sabaoth is He.
It's not Sabbath, it's Sabaoth.
Sabaoth is not Sabbath.
What is Sabaoth?
Huh?
Host?
Host. What's the word for host?
Lord of Hosts.
See, I'm trying to show you something here. I'm trying to show you the problem we have in English based on what we assume and what's really happening. So I've asked other people about this, and even the pastors and so-called people, they have no idea. If you look in the Hebrew, it says the translation is Yahweh Zavot. So here you have Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey, and the word is Zadi, Bet, Aleph, Vav, Tav. And the reason I'm bringing this up is this Aleph, Vav, Tav is the same word as this Aleph, Vav, Tav. And it's pronounced TZ, and this is a V, and this is the word Ot. Zavot.
Oh.
Yahweh Zavot. Zev, but this is Bet Aleph, so they say Zavah, TH, the supplied vowels, Zevaoth. So the Isaac Moses talks about this, where we put an S instead of a TZ, and the thing gets twisted around, so we're thinking, oh, it's Lord of the Sabbath. It has nothing to do with Lord of the Sabbath. But the Jewish translation says Yahweh, Master of Legions. Well, this word does not say Master of Legions. What does it really say? Well, if you look up Zadi Bet, Zadi Bet means turtle. What?
Turtle?
He's the master of the turtles.
I knew it.
Steady.
It also means covered wagon. Well, he's the master of the cowboy turtles.
Is that a hard shell covering? Yeah.
Covered wagon. Now you go to Zadi Bet. That's if you're looking at Zadi Bet. Now you look at Zadi Bet Aleph. Zadi Bet Aleph and Vav Tav is just the plural. Zadi Bet Aleph means army, host, military service, war, warfare, service or a fixed time. Zadi Bet Aleph Yod is of the army or military or warlike. So you can say, oh, okay. So this means Yahweh who is, this is plural, so it's not warlike, wars, militaries. Well, the military is a bunch of guys that want to fight, so he must be the master of all the armies that are called to fight. Okay, now, you look at Zadi Bet Hey. Now, I'm trying to show you the use of the dictionary here. So there's no Hey, but I know from use that a Zadi Bet Hey is what looks like the Zadi Bet. Whether this is Zadi Bet or Zadi Bet Aleph, and whether this is Vav Tav or Aleph Vav Tav, what I'm saying is you can read it both ways. Zadi Bet Hey means to swell up. Well, what's the difference between a lizard and a turtle? A turtle looks like a swollen lizard. What's the difference between a flat trailer and a covered wagon? A covered wagon looks like a swelled up, swollen, flat trailer. So there's something about Zadi Bet Aleph which is to swell up. What's an army? You got one or two guys and a whole bunch of other people come in, you have a whole party or an army, and then it's like this swollen mass of people. So something about this has to do with swelling up or inflating. Now, you go to Zadi Bet Hey, it also means to be willing or wish or desire. Zadi Bet Hey also means swollen, to swell with desire. So you could say Yahweh is swelling with desire concerning the oath that's embedded in every letter of his Aleph Bet. Every letter of the Aleph Bet is what is an expression of Yahweh's desire, that he is swelled with desire. But it's also, every letter of the Aleph Bet, picture a balloon, an uninflated balloon that's just sitting there. You look at that and go, it's a little bit. Just wait a minute. How big is this balloon? You go and you pump air into it, and this thing gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like, wow, look. And then all of a sudden it turns out to be this spectacular balloon, say. Each letter of the alphabet is like this little shrivelly thing, and you go, what is that? It's just a letter of the alphabet. Kids, you write them on blocks, and kids play with them. They're just playing with them. What have we talked about these letters of the alphabet being? Now I'm going to show you something, Jeremiah 31. So you look at Jeremiah 31, and tell me, when is this going to happen, or has it happened? Now Jeremiah 31 is talking about the new covenant. Verse 30, behold, the days are coming, Nam Yahweh, word of Yahweh. When I will seal a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Yehuda, not like the covenant that I sealed with their forefathers on the day they took hold of the hand and taken out of the land of Egypt, for they abrogated, which is the blew off, and completely profaned and desecrated, my covenant, although I became their master, Nam Yahweh. For this is the covenant that I will seal with the house of Israel after those days, Nam Yahweh. Whenever it says Nam Yahweh, there's Nun Aleph Mem, and the Nun means like a lightning bolt, and Aleph Mem means if on the condition of. It's also a mother, it's also a metropolis, it's also a womb. So he says, here I am activating the womb. I'm causing this to happen. If it also means if or on the condition of, so he says, I'm going to make this happen. Whenever he says Nam Yahweh, you can say, boom, that's like the stamped seal. Boom, this is his. And he said, every time when you something like this, where he says Nam Yahweh, Nam Yahweh, Nam Yahweh, Nam Yahweh, it's translated the word of the Lord, but it doesn't quite say the same thing. It's just say the words Nam Yahweh. It's almost like Vietnam. It's the same word, Nam, N-A-M. Anyway, you could look at the word Vietnam and say, what does that mean? And that's a whole other thing. But the point is, this is the covenant I will seal. I will place my Torah within them. Place my Torah within them. By what? His Shem Zakar, and open up their heart and implant his... I will be Elohim for them. I will write it onto their heart. I will be Elohim for them. They will be a people for me. They will no longer teach each man his fellow, each man his brother, saying, know Yahweh. For they will all know me, from their smallest to their greatest, Nam Yahweh, when I forgive their iniquity and will no longer recall their sin. Has this happened yet?
Not yet.
How do you know?
Just go out, just go out there teaching, go outside, walk out.
Nobody knows him. And we still have to say, oh, you should know him, you should get to know him, right? So this hasn't happened yet. And he says,
Go driving in L.A.
No, don't.
No.
I will be, I will be. Now when he says, this is going to happen, Nam Yahweh, I will be Elohim for them, and they will be a people for me. Ami is people for me. People, my people. This hasn't happened yet. In other words, Yahweh says, I've got this great plan, and I haven't had it happen yet. So the world's not going to come to an end. The Tav of the Aleph isn't going to happen until I get my plan made. I will place my Torah within them. The Christians don't want the Torah within them, so this can't be them. The Jews have done who knows what with it, so is it them?